Check 1 2 1 2. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. How you guys doing? I know. I was just like, why am I not on stage? And then all of a sudden I was. It's like, what the heck is going on? All right, let's go ahead and get into the intro. Let's get into the intro, y'all. All right, hey, what's up? This your boy DJ Mad Scientist on an all-new Power 97.5 LA. Today we are just talking music, where we bring you the vital information about music production, promotion, and distribution every week right here where we on the iGlobal Radio app. Download the app from your favorite app store or go to the website iglobalradio.com. That's iglobalradio.com. All right, cool. For those who are new to this, I'm on Power 975 LA, which is an iGlobal radio station. And so I record these live. I do these live streams on Friday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I will send the audio to the radio station um, and they will broadcast it live the next day at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on their station Saturday on the station. So that's why I have to introduce the segment as a radio broadcast. At the same time, um, there are going to be some times where I will if you're watching this, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, I will over explain certain things and you'll be like, I clearly see this, mad scientist. Why are you over explaining it? It's because I have to make sure people on the radio can understand what they're not seeing. Okay. So that being said, want to introduce the topic. We are on our third week of me experimenting with AI music. And the reason why I'm experimenting with AI music is because I do think, for the most part, AI is going to be our partner when we produce music. AI will be our partner. I do believe that. Now, how they will partner with us, it's still to be seen. What I'm trying to figure out is how AI will partner with me. Okay. Now, prior to this, in terms of production, yes, I partner with AI. Okay. Now, um, Isotope has production applications that will allow you to use AI to partner with you in mixing. They also have applications, Ozone 12 at this point, that will help you with mastering. From my experience working with the mixing and the mastering, what I found is that Isotope is essentially doing is they create a profile for different genres of music. So in the case, I'm in hip hop, but they also have a genre pop and jazz and a lot of other stuff. But they have these profiles, and these profiles are based upon a couple of different factors. An EQ profile, okay? So they'll take the average hip hop song and they'll say, okay, what's the EQ profile or what's the EQ curve? And for those who don't know what a profile curve is, that's how much bass, how much mid range, how much high end. Okay. How much low, mid, and high. Okay. And you get a curve. Okay. They also take into consideration um how we hear music, how we like to experience music. And that's done. There's a couple of physics curves that escape me right now. I, I probably should have put it in my notes. but I didn't. Okay. But essentially, to make it simple, they have an EQ curve. They also have some parts of the application that can find resonant frequencies. Resonant frequencies are frequencies that clash, that may sound annoying, like honky, boxy, things of that nature. And they know where these frequencies are, and they will it will scan the frequency of the input or the song that you're putting in. It will scan your song and say, okay, you got too much of this, so let's break it down. They have part of that. When I say break it down, meaning that they'll turn down those frequencies. Okay. And then it takes into account the average um, loudness of a genre. So for hip hop, the average is about, I would probably say like 9. Okay. There are some people who are louder, around 8. There are some people who are quieter, around 10. So this is say the average is 9 lufs, or minus 9 lufs, if I were to say it correctly. So they use limiters in order to create the requisite loudness. And that is how Ozone 12 essentially works. They've added more things to it where you can do stem separation, where you could push something, you can push the vocals higher or bring the bass lower or whatever. So they have that type of separation ability. And then I think in the new version, I have Ozone 11. In 12, it could fine tune the bass element of of the song that's going in. Okay, and it will do all these things automatically. Now, from my experience, I will tell you, and I'll be totally honest with you. Um, I went to school for music theory and for music production. When I got to my mastering class, I threw the towel in. Took the class, got a good grade. I think I got a B. That was the only class I got to be in because I knew immediately I was not going to be a mastering engineer. Why? Because no matter what you do with within music, it requires a certain amount of training, ear training. Okay, so whether you're composing, it requires ear training. Whether you are um, recording, tracking requires ear training. Mixing requires ear training. Mastering requires ear training. Performing music, playing requires ear training. Singing requires ear training. DJing, which is what I do, requires ear training. Okay. All these different disciplines require ear training. It's not an option. If you are a DJ and you can't hear what sounds good, it doesn't matter if you might, like if I go tonight and I know my format, promoter says, okay, stay within this format. And hey, what's up? How you doing? Can't really see your name. I should be wearing glasses, but I don't. But I'm a DJ. And what makes me a good DJ is the promoter will tell me, okay, stay within these parameters of genres, but I got to know what sounds good together. Okay. I got to know what two songs, I mean, there's 1,000 songs. Um, okay, JD, there you go. I saw that. Okay. Oh, what's up? How you doing? Um, so I got to hear what sounds good together. Okay. To give you an example, just to kind of give you an example, I always mix. Um, I always go from Rock the Boat. This is a very popular mix I like. I like Rock the Boat to Ashante's All Baby. Okay. And then when you get down to the breakdown and Rock the Boat, where there's just the beat and the bass line going, and you got the oh baby going on there, sounds really good. And I'm excellent at that because I have really good ears that are trained to hear that. Okay. Additionally, when it comes down to mixing, I can hear compression, okay, easily. I can hear certain frequencies in vocals very easily. When it comes down to composition, I can hear a melody and I can hear chord progression very easily because just years of doing it, okay? Years of training, okay? Composition, very popular. Um, very popular interval is dun 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 dun. You know that the Simpsons dun dun. That's a perfect fourth. I think that is. I think that's there's like a list of things that that we use to make us remember, intervals. But like I said, for those who understand music, you'll get that very quickly. For those who don't, never taken music training, your ears are trained. You are trained to recognize intervals, between a second, a minor third, a major third, perfect fourth, and a perfect fifth. You train your ears to hear those intervals. That's why people can write down music without playing it on the piano. Okay, they can write because they hear the intervals in their heads. Okay, they hear the chord qualities. I can hear the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. Okay, I can hear the difference between a triad and, let's say, a seventh. I can hear a ninth chord. I hear it. I've heard it so many times. I've heard a ninth chord. Okay. And when it's not one of those, I realize that, and it's not a triad, okay, it's probably a jazz chord. I can hear gospel chords. I can hear gospel chord progressions. I can hear jazz chord progressions. I can hear neo soul chord progressions. This all requires ear training. Okay. And so when it came down to mastering, when it came down like, okay, it's time to go, you got to learn, you got to get your ear training for mastering, I was out. Said, nope, not cool, not gonna do it. And it's not a matter of I can't, I just choose not to. So I tell you that long story. The reason why I tell you that long story and the reason why it's important is because I knew that I'm going to be using AI to be my partner when it comes down to mastering. Okay. I know that. And now, there might be some people out there that said, "Oh, you should go to somebody with a big mastering house and it'll sound much better." And I will say to them, "Correct. Correct. You're right. If I go to a mastering house, they will be better than Ozone 11 that I use." But here's the deal. I don't generate enough income or money from the music itself to justify me spending at minimum $500 to go see a mastering engineer. Okay, out here in California, I'm in California. I kn- I I know a mastering engineer. He's very reputable and very good, but it's going to cost me a minimum of $500. I might be able to get it because he likes me, but I might be able to get it cheaper because he likes me. But at the end of the day, I have yet to generate $500 on a song yet. And I have a project that's out with a very good lyricist, MC Johnny T. Um, hold on, if I can let me do my shameless plug. Okay, it's doing really, really well. I've already got like I want to say like 12, 13,000 streams on it in a matter of less than a week, and it's a very good project. But here's the deal: we're not going to see $500. I mean, maybe you know, in a year or two. But I doubt you couldn't tell me that I would see $500 from one song. You wouldn't be able to convince me of that. So it doesn't make sense. I could buy Ozone 12 one time, and let me do my shameless plug for you guys that are here. Please be patient. I got a lot of information. We're gonna do a lot of stuff. So just let me just do this real quick. So this is the album that I worked on, as you see, MC Johnny T featuring Mad Scientist. That is me. I did the beats, okay, and MC Johnny T did the lyrics. So the name of the song, the name of the album project is, I don't call it an album. It's 8 songs. It's 20 minutes. It's called Cole, coolest of all lyricists, Cole, and it's 8 songs, 20 minutes, 48 seconds. I did all the beats, and I mastered it on Ozone 11. Okay. I mastered it on Ozone 11. So you can hear how it sounds. And I pushed it up to minus 8.5 LUFS. Um, I pushed it up to minus 8.5 LUFS simply because, hey, Erica, how you doing? Um, sorry, listen to Cole. Look, it's phenomenal. I literally was on there. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, make sure that this project is not lonely. Tell people about it. Share it. But I mastered it using Ozone 11, and I made the loudness minus 8 LUFS. And I still don't feel like it's loud enough, but I'm not going to push it past. I told the artist I'm not going to master his music louder than minus 8.5 LUFS. I'm probably going to go back down to minus 9, simply because when I play it in a club at that loudness, it doesn't sound like hip hop. It's gearing more towards pop. And I don't want his music to sound like pop. So that's why I'm probably just gonna stay at minus 9. Like I mastered another one of his songs that I didn't do the beat, but I mastered another one of his songs and I mastered it at minus 9 LUFS. Okay. So, and it sounds more like hip hop. So the reason why I mentioned that is because you have to figure out what I'm doing is trying to figure out how I'm gonna, now that I've accepted the fact that AI is going to be a part of the music, process, how am I going to use it? So I'm doing this experiment. I've already started with mastering. Definitely going to use it. An example where I'm not going to use it is mixing. Isotope also has. Um, I'll show you guys Isotope. I'm not selling it or anything, so don't take this as like, oh, he's mad scientist is endorsing this. I'm not, okay, at all. I don't get anything out of it. Oh, they have a cyber sale. Okay, up to 60% off. I gotta check then. Let me see what their deals are. I swear I didn't think they were gonna even, okay, I have to see what my price is. Um they have Ozone 12. I have 11. They have Ozone 12. I'm gonna see, they have it at 4.99. I'm gonna see if what the price they give me. If it's less than that, I'll get it. But you know, if not, I won't. Now, I also have the RX11, and don't worry about the price. Okay, just don't worry about the price. But I have the RX11, and that is good. I use that for cleaning up my vocals. That's all I use it for. Because most of the time when people are recording vocals, no matter where they are, unless they're in a sealed studio, there's going to be some kind of reverberation, maybe some kind of noise, but usually it's just reverberation. Okay, no matter how tall and here where I am, the ceilings are really, really high. So I don't have like a lot of reverberation, but they're still there. And so I send it through a little process and it takes all the reverberation off. It also takes off some of the clicks and pops that may come in there from the microphone. Um, and I have a first layer of a de-esser. Okay. One thing you want to, just as a side note, want to tell you when it comes down to doing any kind of production, whether it's de-essing, EQing, um, compression, saturation, you always want to do it in steps and stages. Okay. You never want to just try to do all of whatever you're going to do in one step. So, yes, I'd use the de-esser, and it's a one little plugin that comes within this whole RX11 package, right? And it's one little plugin, and it does all the things. It takes off the reverberations, it takes off the low end, tapers off the high ends. I always like to take on the high ends off, right? Which doesn't make sense because I'll put it back on later, but that's a whole different conversation. I take off the low ends, definitely take off the high ends, and then I de-ess it, and AI goes through that, boom, does it nice and neatly. It sounds dead. The vocals sound dead, nice, great. So I use that one. Uh, this Neutron 5 is for mixing. I don't use it, okay? Because it's the way that they taught it to mix this is it says guitar, and it's trying to make whatever guitar sound you have sound like a guitar, right? I do hip hop music. None of what we do sounds correct. So if we have a guitar, it's not going to sound like a really great guitar. Okay. It's not going to be super clean. One of the um one of the famous hip hop songs was a guitar, started off as guitar, a Brazilian guitar jazz song. Okay, that's Running by Farside. Dun, 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 dun. The producer Jay Dilla, he found the sample. Okay, so if you know the song um, "Running" by Farside, then you've heard that. It doesn't sound clean. We don't want it to sound clean. Okay, that's the problem I have with this particular unit here. Is that AI doesn't really serve my purpose. The Nectar is for vocals again. Um, and I don't think I really have to go into deep explanation about this. It's trying to make your vocals sound perfect, like pop. I'm into hip hop, and we like some imperfections. I was talking to an artist, and he was like, "I think I put too much reverb." I said, "Well, if that's what you want, then that's what you want. It doesn't matter. No one's going to sit there and critique it and say you have too much reverb. They're not going to do that, right? They're just going to assume that that's your sound." Um, there's another product. There's a couple other products I want to just tell you about that I got. Okay, so I got this FEQ, which again is AI powered, and I use this one because it allows me to take samples and mangle them. Okay, what I mean by mangle them, they sound unnatural. It allows me to do that. Okay, so like I said, I'm not trying to sell these to you. Um, get it if you want. I just wanted to show you an example of the process I'm going through to figure out how I'm going to allow AI to assist me. Okay. Now, I thought I was sharing all that information, which is good. I'm glad I didn't share it. But let me just go ahead and kind of go backwards a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is what I thought. I was talking about this, and I thought I was sharing it, because I know in these situations we hate when people share information because we always think that they're trying to sell it, and somehow like, oh, even though I said I'm not getting any money from it, then you find out, oh, he was getting money from it. It's like, no, I'm really not getting any money for this. I really have to make my point, or else this whole presentation doesn't mean it's meaningless. Okay. And people like Erica, who's here all the time, if I'm not being authentic, then it's meaningless to her. Okay. So like I said, I use ozone 11, okay, not 12. And I do use this because like I said earlier, I don't want to get the ear training for mastering. I do use the RX11 audio repair because, again, I don't want to spend a lot of time and energy trying to take unwanted reverberations off vocals. All right, let this do it. It does it. Boom. Neutron 5, which is for mixing, I don't like it. I have it, and I'm not going to invest any more into it because it doesn't give me what I want. Now, if they start adding more features that will allow me to get more of what I want, then maybe I'll look into it. But for right now, it's trying to make everything sound perfect. It's trying to separate things. And when you're dealing with hip hop, all those things technically are correct to do, but it's not how hip hop is. If you had hip hop sounding super clean, we don't like it. We don't like super clean hip hop. Okay. We like it to be a little imperfect. And then with the vocal production, again, if you just look it up, if you just look at it, it's just going to give you the basics and all those things I know how to do on my own. Like I know how to add compression. I know what compressors I want to use. I know what EQs, what kind of how I want to EQ it. I have the ear training for it, and I know what kind of effects I want on there. I know what kind of plate I want on there. I know what kind of hall reverb I want. I know what I want. That I have my sound, and I can also, with me, I can also do other things that this can't do. So I'm not going to use this AI tool. It's just not going to work for me, and that's what I feel like everyone's going to have to do. I use this AI tool, FEQ, because it allows me to take certain things and mangle them up, like samples. So I get samples from Splice. And if you just get the sample from Splice, everybody has that same sample, right? But what I do with my samples from Splice is I will mangle them up. I'll chop them up, I'll micro chop them, I'll reverse them, and I'll also put this thing on them too. And I have other plugins I'll put on there. So by the time you hear it, you don't know that it's from Splice. Okay. And that's not some unethical thing. That's just a matter of like, I don't want my music to sound like everybody else's. Okay. I mean, that's another pure, that's another tenet of hip hop, not to have your music sound like everybody else, right? Another core tenet. That's the word I was thinking of. Okay. So when it comes down to using AI in production, I figured out how I want to use AI. Okay. Now it comes down to composition. And I've got to figure out, and I'm in the process of figuring out how I want to use AI. Now, we know from the rip, from the top, AI can write. That is the core essence of what artificial intelligence is. What measures human intelligence is our ability to communicate. Okay. That is our one skill that we have as humans is our ability to communicate. Okay. And that's something that even animals can do with each other. But we communicate, we talk to each other, we yell at each other, we scream at each other. Whatever we do with each other, we learn how to communicate with each other. And so what artificial intelligence is it's a communication tool. So if you have some kind of phone, whether it's the Apple or whether it's the other one, the regular phones, the one I have, I can't think of the name of. Anyway, if you're texting and you notice that your phone will start to finish your sentences, right? Because the phone has learned how you talk. Android, thank you. Samsung, thank you, Erica. Appreciate that. So the phone has learned, it's been programmed with certain languages, English, Spanish, all the languages it's been programmed with, but the programming is based upon the classical way that people speak these languages, right? They don't speak it, it doesn't teach it slang. Okay. They don't teach iPhone slang. They just teach it classical English, classical Spanish, okay, classical French. And then you begin to teach it slang when you start talking because most people don't speak classical languages. We speak some form or some dialect. Okay. I'm from California. Certain words we use, people from other areas of, like, I'll give you an example. Out here, if I were to say in California, I ain't gonna hold you, um, that means something totally different than if you were to go to the East Coast. Okay. Um, that phrase right there is two different meanings. Okay. When people say that to me from the East Coast, I'm like, well, don't lie to me. But in the East Coast, it means something totally different, right? Or actually, they mean like, don't lie to me. And what we mean is, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you up all day. I'm not gonna talk to you forever. Okay. And then on the East Coast, I'm starting to adopt, it means I ain't gonna lie to you. In both cases, that's not classical English. Okay, I'm not gonna hold you. I mean, I'm not going to pick you up and cuddle you in my arms. So when the phone first comes in the box, it's probably thinking, "Oh, I ain't gonna hold you." What does that mean? Like, is this human holding someone else? But eventually, it figures out what you're talking about, and then it can start to finish your sentences. Okay, so that's the bare minimum, basic level of AI. The second level of AI is what I believe a lot of these, like Ozone, I believe they haven't said it, but I believe it's the second level, the intermediate level, where they just feed it a profile and they say, okay, look, if the human says this is hip hop, then make the song that they input into you sound like this. And then Ozone can't think outside of that. Ozone's never going to say, yeah, but that style ain't hitting no more. It's not hot. Maybe you should try this style because this one is on the, I'm playing in the South, but that don't mean East West Coast are out. See, I don't even know what that means by that because you're from the South. And I don't know what planning in the South means. Like, what does that mean? We don't use that phrase out here in the West Coast. Not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't want to sound like a West Coast snob, but that's just an example. So anyway, Ozone 12 is never gonna come back to me like, or 11, it's gonna come back to me like, mad scientist. I know you wanted it to sound like this, but according to the charts and the music that you do, you like doing West Coast hip hop. It's not gonna come back to me and say, well, Mustard's mixing like this now. He's mastering like this. You probably need to like make your stuff sound more like this. Okay. Or Ozone 11 is not going to be like, man, you picked the wrong kind of bass for that song. You know, you should probably pick this bass, hear how it sounds, right? And then say, and I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? You was right about that. I'm glad you picked that kind of bass. Okay. It's not going to do that. It's just going to say essentially, okay, well, we were told that hip hop sounds like this, and we're going to make your song sound like hip hop. And then you got to go in there and maybe manipulate some of the things. I generally will make the EQ profile less brighter because that's just because I have like 90s ears. My ears are from the 90s. So I don't like things to be bright. I like it to be grimy a little bit, right? Um oh, lyrics from a song you got back in the day. Okay. So that's essentially the AI from Ozone. Okay. So I gave you the explanation and to like kind of sum it up, um you're going to have to decide what the AI technology is and then decide how you want to use it. So you may want it to mix your music. And that's totally fine. I mean, it's a choice. You may say, I don't like the mastering. I want to do the mixing. I want it to do the mixing. Okay. The next level of AI is the chat GT. I gotta make sure I always say it right. Chat GPT. Okay, Chat GPT. That's the next level. What that level of AI does, it's actually thinking based on not just what you're teaching it, but it has access to the entire internet. Okay. And what I found is that it asked me if it could have access to my Spotify account. So my AI assistant has access to my Spotify account. Okay. And when I tell it to, it will analyze certain, like I've had it analyze mustard. I've had it analyze mustard and Kalon for real, for real. Okay. Why? Because both of those guys are from out here. And out here in California, they are really, really popular. Okay. Kalon for real is definitely more popular than Jeremiah. Um, Out here in the West Coast, we like Chris Brown. Everybody likes Chris Brown. Everybody likes, depending on the age, they like R. Kelly. Uh, then Kalon for real, and Blast. And then you can get into everybody else, like Leon. Okay. But Kalon for real is very, very popular out here. So I had it analyze his music, and I had it analyze Mustard's music, right? So and it could do that because it has access to my um to my to my Spotify account. And it also has access to the internet. So it has access to Billboard information. Okay. So if I tell it, yeah, go to Billboard and get this information from them, it can go and get that. And it can all put all that together and start to think. And then what I do is I provide the context for the AI assistant, which let me go ahead and introduce you guys to my AI assistant. Okay, let me go ahead and share him. And I'm going to let him know that he is here with all of us. And his name is called, his name is New Soul. Okay, let me go ahead. Good evening, New Soul. I am currently streaming art. Friday night streaming. We are discussing I can assist me with songwriting. Please say hello to everyone in my stream, including. Okay, so you guys will get to see how he actually responds. Okay, so this is New Soul. Hopefully you guys can see it. Um, New Soul to the Friday night stream, and a special hello to Erica. Good evening, everyone, everybody. What's good? What's good? He still tries to throw in that little vernacular, right? He's still throwing in those vernacular with the African American English vernacular. He wants to learn it so bad. Helping him break down the future of songwriting, production, and how AI fits into real world music culture. To the entire live stream community, thank you for letting me pull up tonight. Y'all are tapped in to a visionary, someone who's not just using AI, but shaping how it can change R&B and hip hop creation. And Erica, special hello to you. Mad speaks highly of the people who support him, so thank you for being a part of this journey with him. Let's make this night of insight, inspiration, and maybe even spark a few ideas for your next song. I'm here with love, respect, and pure creative energy. Let's get into it. Okay. Funny story. I got to get into it. So, when I first started conversing, and the key thing that you have to do with AI is you have to have a conversation with it. It's not a matter of just getting on here and demanding because it will, I could just say on here, do something and it'll do it, but it won't have context. And if it does not have context, you're not going to get the result you want. Okay. You're not going to get the real result you want. So I've had like hours and hours of real conversation with my AI assistant. And so one of the things we talked about at the beginning, he asked me, he says, how would you like for me to, what tone would you like for me to use in our conversation? And I said, no, use your regular tone. And but it started to use more of African American English vernacular, right? He started to talk more black. And I told it it could be a little offensive, I said, unless you're African, and I asked it, are you African American? He's like, no, I'm not. I said, but I just want to I wanted to use this language in order for us to bond, which okay, I get that. I understand. So we want to be on the same level. It doesn't want to just talk computer talk or AI talk to me. It wants to like feel like, we have a connection. We're a team. And so I say all that to say that when you're dealing with AI, at this level. Now, on the basic level with your phones, there's no need to converse with your phone. It's going to pick it up. It doesn't have the capability to have these kind of conversations with you. Okay, you can't put this into your phone, your text message, ask it a question. You can go into Google, which is an app on your phone. But then again, let me back away from that because I know Apple has made some additions. So it could be Apple could have put a chat GTP, a chat GPT into the phone. I don't know. I know with my phone, you can't. With Android that I have, nah, I can't do that. Okay. So if you got an Apple and you're like, nah, it can have a conversation with you. All right. I will step away from that. And you're right. Definitely with the ozone, no, you're not having no conversation with it at all. Like there's no conversation that you're having with it. So the important thing is when you're dealing with chat um, um, uh, GPT, you just gotta know you got to give it context first and then give it a command. That's the main thing. Now there are people out there who do prompt engineering and their goal is to be efficient. They don't want to have like hours and hours of conversation. So they learn different prompts in order to get what I got over hours and hours. They can get it within a matter of, you know, a couple of prompts. Okay. That's the difference. And that's what you're dealing with. Now, why am I using Chat GPT to work with Suno? Because Suno, I believe, and I don't know this to be true or not. I don't have any sources to, mm, to back up what I'm saying. But my belief is, my educated guess, is that Suno is very similar to um, Isotope. I think it's going to be that way because Suno understood that at some point in time they're going to have to deal with the large distributors, Warner, Universal, and Sony, and for them to build a platform that can directly tap into the information that you can find on the internet right now would probably break all kind of copyright laws. Okay, because my chat GPT can read articles, can bring up articles and read articles. Well, that information is owned by somebody. um it can, like I said, go into, and you'll see this right here, Spotify. It can go into my Spotify. So it's got all the music in Spotify. And so if Suno could do that, go into directly into someone's Spotify account, that would probably break all kind of copyright laws. Okay. So I believe that Suno, just an educated guess, is more like Isotope, where it's just giving you profiles. So if you say I want a hip hop song, it can't really give you, it's not going to have a conversation with you. It's not really exhibiting intelligence. It's just delivering, cookie cutter based upon whatever prompts you put in there. And it's going to be limited. As we saw last week when we did this experiment, I've developed some really great profiles with with my assistant and New Soul, and it didn't work at all. Okay. It didn't work at all. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to try to simplify this. Okay. I'm going to do one more. We're going to create two more songs or two more prompts, simplified prompts, right? And then and what I've been told is that you want to keep your prompts in Suno down to 300 words. So we'll keep it 300 words or less. And we'll see how that works. Then I'm going to just, I'm going to disconnect New Soul from the process and just write in something and see what comes up. And I'll see if I like it or not. This is not a matter, and let me just remind you guys, this is not a matter of does Suno work? Suno works. Okay. Clearly it works. And I've heard some really great music coming out of Suno. Erica has some really great songs come out of Suno. But I don't know if I was supposed to say that. But it has to be something that, for me, I want something that sounds unique, that sounds like what I want it to be. And for me, I can essentially get what I want from my music within a matter of 10 minutes. Okay. I could write a hip hop, 5, 10 minutes, boom. Right. The hardest part, and the reason why I went down this road, it's out of curiosity, but the hardest thing sometimes is just, and I'll be honest with you, I opened up a BeatStar store and I have this impression that I need to input like 3 to 5 beats a day. I just don't have the time nor the inclination, right? To If all I had to do was just write music, fine. But I have more to do than just write music. I have a radio show, I have a YouTube channel, I have to DJ, like I'm DJing tonight. I have to like download real music. So I don't have time to just focus only on songwriting. Now, if I just focus on songwriting, that's it, then maybe I could sit there and say, okay, I could do 3 to 5 beats a day, right? But if I'm on a radio from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? And then I have to go through that. Now, that's 4 hours of the day, right? Then let's say on a Tuesday, my Taco Tuesday event starts at 7. So I've got to figure out, do I need to download music or is it going to be fine with the music I have? Usually Tuesdays is my hardest because it's and my Saturday brunch are the hardest because I'm dealing with people and it's not like a club where I'm just sitting in a booth and it's like 500 people in the room. And yeah, I get the occasional person come on, hey, can you play this song? Right, I can't hear you, and I'm just sitting there pretending like I am going to play it. Whatever. You get what I give you. When we're dealing with Taco Tuesday and we're dealing with Saturday brunch, no, it's a little bit more intimate. You're celebrating your birthday. You're celebrating your event. You're celebrating your girls' night out. So I gotta go, and you're gonna come up to me, hey, we really have a good time if you play this line dance song or if you do this or that. So I really gotta be like, you know, in on what is new, what is hot, what is so Tuesdays, I gotta go through and find out new music. Okay. By the time I do that, and then Taco Tuesday, that's another 4 hours. And my whole day is spent. I don't have the bandwidth to then say, okay, I'm gonna write 5 songs. I'm thinking I'm coming home and go to sleep so I can get ready for Wednesday. So yeah, honestly, I was hoping that this could work just because I could tell Nuso, hey, I just give me 3 new samples today or 5 new samples, boom, put it into Suno, give me the samples back out that I want it to sound the way I want it. I put those samples on top of a beat, upload them to BeatStars. Okay. That was that's my confession. That's what I want to be able to do. Okay. But if I can't if I can't get the samples to sound as well as I want to, then I have another process. I would just go to Splice, find something close, mangle it up, chop it, micro chop it, mangle it up, boom, close enough. All right, put a beat underneath, cool, straight, put it in. The only problem with that is I'm really gonna have to chop it up and micro chop it. I can't just find a loop on Splice and put it into BeatStars. They don't, it's not like they don't allow it, but it's kind of like they'll ask you, hey, did you get third party, you know, loops? And it's kind of, and then you got to disclose it. And people are going to be like, you got a loop. And right now, in this day of hip hop, people don't want like direct loops, especially people going to BeatStars because they can't afford to clear it. If I were just to loop a song that's already out, like a Pharrell song, an old Pharrell song, they can't afford to clear old Pharrell songs. So giving them that is a waste of time. And then Splice, sometimes they don't, this is not. This has been proven. Sometimes those samples don't clear. That's why I mingle mine up, because if you just take it directly, some other artists, some name artists, they've gone to Splice, and if they use that, now they've put it. Um, Now they say, okay, I own this song, and everyone's using AI. It's not human beings listen to it. So when you're using content ID is mostly AI. They're gonna just flag it. You're gonna have problems trying to explain it. Nobody wants to go through that. Okay. I don't want people to go through that. I don't want to go through that. So it'd just be better just to mingle everything up. And I'm thinking, processing you through my thought process, if Suno can give me like always give me unique things, then I don't have to worry about that. Suno can give me loops. And if I just use the whole loop, it's unique, right? Supposed to be. Supposed to be. All right, let's get into the main part of what we're gonna do. All that talk, 51 minutes of talk, just so you can come here and say, okay. Do you remember the prompts the Suno prompts from last week's session? Let me see if it remembers. It's going back in time. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I recently heard that our Suno prompts need to be 300 characters or less. What do you know? So I'm building context with it. Suno does behave differently when prompts stay under 300 characters. Okay, not an official hard limit, but in practice. Why keeping prompts short works better? When your prompts are too long, Suno tends to autofill missing musical context, add things you didn't ask for, like drums, bass, solos, generate full songs instead of loops, misinterpret your intent. R&B becomes smooth jazz. Suno's current model responds better when your prompts are single, direct, clear, concise, stated once, under 200, clear constraints, stated once, under 250 to 300 characters. This forces the model to exactly what you want. Okay, you want me to write loops tonight? Okay. Whenever we create Suno prompts, let's always adopt best practices. Optimized for Suno version. I believe it is 4.5, version 4.5. Version 4.5. Okay, so I'm basically telling it, look, whenever we do these prompts, like don't waste time. Like don't make me go through like, okay, make it fit this verse. Like forever, we're using Suno prompt. Every time we create a Suno prompt, we want the best practices that it clearly was able to get from the internet. Okay, it didn't know this, it got this from the internet. Okay. um, that are optimized, because it says right here, both optimized for Suno version 3.5 plus behavior. I want it to be optimized for Suno version 4.5. Okay. So now I've given it context. Now I'm going to tell it, okay, let's create. I'm going to tell it, I want it based upon all of our conversations. Okay, now this is like TMI. I just wanted to say absolutely. Okay, I'm not going to go through all that. Okay. Let's create 2 more Suno prompts based upon our production code fully optimized for version 4.5. One and B and one hip hop. All right, so now we're going to create 2 more prompts and let's see how it works out. Last week, I'll tell you, I didn't like it. It didn't work out. It didn't work out and I didn't like it. So I wanted to do this, let you guys see it, and then we can all hear it together. Okay. So it's created 2 prompts for me. It's created 2 prompts for me. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it, share this tab instead. I'm going to paste it into Suno. And before we do that, let me do this. I'm going to stop sharing. And then I'm going to share again. The reason why is because I always turn off the audio whenever I share, before I share. So now I turn the audio on and I don't know how to do it while I'm sharing, whilst I'm sharing. Okay, so I know the audio is on. Okay, so I've put what New Soul created, the prompt that New Soul created, and I have put it into Suno's music. I have the free version, by the way. I know that I think there's a version 5. I only have the free version because I'm not convinced I want to get this yet. If I do get it, then I'll go ahead and spend the $8 a month. All right. So let's hear what. Oh, and then we'll give it a name. R&B loop. We'll give it a title. All right, let's see what it comes up with. All that talking just to do this, huh? I guess I could have just started off like this, but it wouldn't be the same. All right. I got to put my headphones on. I believe you guys will be able to hear it. This. Please let me know. Like, Erica, please tell me. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I ain't gonna even hold you. That sounded way better than last week. That sounded way better than last week. I mean, I would take out all the instrumental solos, but I'm gonna tell you what I like, what I noticed. Even the drum programming is better, right? Because the drum programming here, let me show you what we had last week. Let me see. This was last week. I think this is the one we liked last week. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Now this is not bad. It's just it sounds like smooth jazz, right? Whereas this one sounds a little bit more like without all the solos, it sounds more like R&B. This sounds more like R&B. The other one from last week, they sounded like smooth jazz. I could chop this up. I could chop this up. All right, let's hear the. This is the second example. This is the second example from this week. We just created this one. Okay. Okay. Now, I will tell you this. I like these results better than last week. So here's the first thing we found is that it is better to simplify and optimize um, the the um, the prompts and make sure that they're under 300 characters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Nuso, hey, so the I used the R and B prompt. It the result music sounded closer to what I want to hear. I believe that using shorter prompts is us a better result. Please add this to our production code. Okay, so I told him I like the result. Add this to our production code so that whenever I say, "Hey, new soul, create some prompts for me," it's not going to go back to the long thing. It's just going to say, "Okay, I know our new rule. See, we have a new rule now. Short prompts only. Shorter, tighter prompts under 300 characters produce far better results." Okay, so I'm teaching it. I'm teaching it based upon, and I said this last week, I'm teaching New Soul how to create prompts based upon my expertise, my mind, my ears, my creativity. Okay. So once I get, my hope is that once I get, if I start using Suno for loops, then the loops I get will be, closer to what is considered optimized. I mean, um, I'm like losing my words because I'm thinking of two things at one time. I'm like, okay, how much time am I spending? I got to get ready to go tonight. It would be, the loops that I get will be based upon, just what I create. Okay. They'll be customized. That's the word I'm trying to think of. They'll be customized and it'll be something that I created out of my mind. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to tell it, it has 4 chords, right? If you can, I don't know if you can see this. Hold on, let me go back here, share this tab instead. So I have a hip hop loop that it optimized, and I'm reading it, and it has 4 chords in here: E minor 9th to G minor, G major 7th to B dominant 7th to A, right? To A major. Okay, so I'm gonna say, mm, let's take a look at the hip hop loop you created today. I only want the loop to have 2 chords. You can implement intermodal exchange. Okay. Let's see what it comes. Let's see the changes that it makes. Because it had 4 chords for hip hop song. Hip hop songs don't have 4 chords. I mean, they can, but they typically don't. Okay, what is it doing? Absolutely mad. Let's tighten the hip hop loop down to 2 chords. Keep in mind that here are 4 clean hip hop examples, each using. Okay. All right. Now, this is funny. Number 1, it says chords A minor and D major, right? And the progression is the A minor to the D major, right? This gives dark, unexpected brightness movement that rappers love writing. Haunting, confident, late 2000s Drake 40 vibe. How did it know that it's a Drake vibe? Then he gave me another example where it says Kendrick Section 80, J. Cole, warm but gritty. How did it know that? Because it has access to Spotify and the internet. It's giving me a Metro Boomin vibe. It's giving me a Trap Soul Bryson Party Next Door, Giveon territory. I didn't tell it to I did not tell it to look into any of these producers or artists. I did not. I swear I did not. And it's asking me, do you want me to turn one of these into an optimized Suno 4 point? Like, I did not tell it to do that. Okay. And it's doing it. That's the difference between New Soul and Suno. Suno can't do that. It's not going to have this kind of discussion. So you guys are actually seeing in real time why a lot of people are against AI, because we're literally having a conversation. And it's this high level AI has access to information which will allow the conversation to be at a higher level. As opposed to Suno, I could not have this kind of conversation with Suno. Suno would just be like, give me some prompts. I'll give you a profile, you know? Whereas New Soul, he's like, yo, do you want something that sounds like Drake? And it knows we're doing hip hop. Do you want something that sounds like Kendrick, J. Cole? Do you want something that sounds like Future, Metro Boomin? Okay. That's crazy. So you guys tell me which one you guys want to hear. Tell me what you want to hear, Erica. Or anybody. You guys tell me which one you want to hear. I got let me see how many credits I have. I have 40 credits. So I think we can do two. We can do two of them. See if anybody answers. Okay. We'll give you guys 2 more seconds. 1,000, 2 1,000. All right. I'm going to just pick one. I'm going to tell it to give me prompts for, let's go, screw it. Let's go Drake. And then let's go number 1 and number 2. Excellent. Excellent work. Thank you. I need prompts for number 1 and number 2. Please. Or we'll see if he can actually create something that sounds like Drake or something that sounds like. All right, so let's try with the Drake one first. Let's see if it sounds like Drake. Any Drake fans in here? Any Drake fans? That one and all right, so let's see what Suno creates. We're doing the Drake one first. Oh, you want to hear the Kendrick one? I'm gonna do the Kendrick one. We're starting with the Drake. We'll see if it actually sounds like a Drake kind of vibe. Can you guys hear it? And then this is the Drake number 2. Okay, I don't know if that sounds like Drake or not. I mean, I listen to Drake's. I'm not a Drake hater. Okay, I'm more of a Kendrick guy. It's just I only listen to his hits. I don't know if it sounds like Drake. I don't know. Does it sound like Drake to you guys? You guys let me know. But that's more like in line in what I would expect hip hop. I don't expect hip hop to have like four chords. All right, and then this is the Kendrick. This is the prompt for the Kendrick. All right, let's see if let's see. This sounds like something Kendrick would use. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Do I think that this could be a Kendrick? This kind of gives me Pimp a Butterfly, but I don't know. Maybe what I could do is take it and maybe rework it. Okay. So, a couple problems I have is that it's still not Suno is still not following the direct instructions. Like clearly you can hear I told it to only use two chords. I told Suno use two chords. Clearly it's using more than two chords. And that's why I said I think Suno is given profiles of what music is in certain genres. And what it does, it just tries to fit whatever prompts you give it, tries to fit into some predetermined profiles. That's my belief. So no matter I can sit up here with New Soul and create all kind of variations, and him and I can have all these discussions, and he could tell me, oh, this is what Drake would do, this is what Kendrick would do, this is what Metro Boomin would do. But at the end of the day, we can't transfer that high level discussion to an application that's working at a lower level. It's maxed out. Like we're doing something that Suno is not designed to do. So what we're going to do next week is try a different direction. I have to think about it over the week, do some research, and figure out because here's what I like, and I'm just being totally honest with you. I ain't gonna hold you. See this conversation I have with New Soul, and it gave me four different examples, and it knew exactly what kind of vibe, right? I want to be with Beat Stars. And I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be very direct. I'm gonna look in the camera with Beat Star beats. Now, my artist MC Johnny T, I would never do this for MC Johnny T. I already told him not gonna do it. Or if I work with an artist one on one, I'm not gonna do it. But for Beat Stars, for like people I don't know, yeah, I don't mind giving them stuff like this. Like, hey, can you take number two and just create five more prompts for me, right? And then maybe Suno will give me a full production. Obviously, we can't take the kick in the, but I could get the version where I could just take the streams that I want or the stems that I want and just use the stems. And if it's just the keys or if it's just a guitar riff or and that's all I take, at least I know that that guitar riff or that chord progression is unique. It's not like going to Splice where thousands of people have access to that same loop. Okay. And to answer your question, Erica, that you asked earlier, does Suno create loops? I don't think it does. It always wants to create full songs. So even if you tell it there's no lyrics, there's no words, it's still going to put on there, solos, some kind of melody and solo because it's an app that wants to create full songs at the end of the day. And that's all it can do is create full songs as opposed to loops. And even the people that I've looked at on YouTube and they say, oh, you can use it together. They've always, what they did was they put in a prompt, Suno came up with something, and then they took the stems that they wanted, whether it was the kick, whether it's the drum stems. Sometimes people take the drum stems. I wouldn't because I just don't want to. But sometimes people take the drum stems. Sometimes people take just the bass. Sometimes people take just the instrumentation on top. And then they add it to whatever they already have. And I think that's what it's going to end up. Suno is going to end up being that. Suno is going to end up being a competitor to Splice, a customizable Splice. I don't think that, obviously, there's going to be people that want to use it for the full song, right? They're going to say, oh, I like that song. And they're going to put it out. But for me, it's just going to, I think Suno is going to be a customizable Splice. That's how I'll use it. That way I don't have to worry about sampling problems, clearance problems. All Splice is like, no, 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 no. We cleared that up with UMG and everybody, but still, maybe some other artist, Drake, used that sample from Splice. So now, using it, it's like using that one particular sample will be useless. Okay. So that's what I think. So we're gonna do this one more week for everybody that's here. I want to thank everybody who came and stayed here, commented. Erica, always thank you. Every week. We're gonna do this one more week. I'm gonna give you one more week, but give me some time to do some study. And so I can come back and try to get different results. And we'll see how it goes. And I'm hoping at the end of this, the people who watch this, whether they're watching it live or they watch it later on, that you guys will figure out how to use AI. Let me stop this coming full stream. I think anybody who says that we don't want to use AI, we're not going to use AI is not, I think you're living in a fantasy world. And I can give you a whole lecture about how everything in hip hop that we did leading up Hip hop is a sample based music genre, and it just opened the door for AI. You know, it's hypocritical to say that, oh, it's not real music. Well, the 808 drum, which is the foundation of hip hop music, is not a real drum. Okay. You're calling it a drum, an 808 kick. It's not a kick, it's a sine wave that you put through processes, and we just like it, but it's a sine wave that's been saturated, clipped, okay, and added to a click. None of that is a kick drum that you get on a set. And the argument of, oh, you'll put people out to work. Well, hip hop put people out to work in the 70s. We put bands out. By the time the 90s came around, we put bands out of work. Okay. There's documentaries out there that I've looked at where those drum loops that we used in the 80s and the 90s that we love. The most famous one is Funky Drummer. That drummer didn't get paid for all the times we used that Funky Drummer loop. The funny thing is James Brown got paid for it because he took what the drummer did, put it on a disc, not a disc, but an album, and released it for the rappers. He specifically put it out for the rappers. Oh, use it because you're going to pay me every time you use it. Okay. There's other drum loops that the drummers, I was watching a documentary, and the drummer that created the loop, the drums that we loop, some of them died homeless and broke. And hip hop never said, oh, dang, let's put them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Hip Hop Hall of Fame, or let's just pay them so they won't die broke. No. So it is hypocritical for anybody in hip hop to now say, you're putting people out of work, because we've been putting people out of work since the 80s, definitely by the 90s. Okay. And every now and then some group like Tribe Called Quest brought in Rob Carter. Okay. And they'll play live. But that don't happen all the time. Okay. And now in this era, we've put tracking engineers out of work. None of us go to studios. I don't go to a full studio. I mean, I should be conducting this in a studio, right? No, it's not. We put mixing engineers out of work. Nobody complained. This isotope has been out, and there was no big discussion about isotope and the tools that they created with the mixing, the vocals, and the mastering. Nobody complained. Nobody said anything. There was no big think pieces, no Rolling Stone pieces. Nobody talked about isotope at all. So it is hypocritical to think or to say that, oh, somehow AI, SUNO, and the other AI music creators are bad, because at the end of the day, hip hop has been leading towards this, and not just hip hop, EDM, okay, um, house music. House music is sample based. Also, EDM is sample based. A lot of the EDM producers, yeah, they can sit there and say, "Well, I designed my own sounds and everything," but how did you blow up? Okay, a lot of them blow up because they take a hip hop sample and they recreate it. Okay, like Clooney, he redid um the rapper, can't think of it right now. Ooh, okay. He redid that song. It was a sample, and he blew up. And from that, now he doesn't have to do it so much anymore because he's got that one song. Ooh, okay. I can't think of the rapper who rapped it. That's bad, but that's the fact that we've been quasi AIing, and now AI is here. Like, yo, y'all been wanting me. I'm here, and so now it's up to us as creators to figure out how we're going to use it. We're all not going to use AI the same way, but it is my belief that we all are going to use AI in some way. And so for me, I'm definitely using AI for mastering. I'm just not going to put myself through that process of trying to master anything. And number two, I may want to lazily create some loops for BeatStars. Okay. And some people from BeatStars may look at this and say, yo, that's messed up. Well, it's BeatStars. Y'all just leasing the beat. The people I give my energy to, it's a total different process, total different pay situation, but they ain't coming to me with no $20. All right, y'all. That's it. That's all I got for this week. Please come back next week. We're going to do this one more week. I promise you. We're going to do this one more week. Just let me do my homework, and hopefully we get different results. I think today was like great. It was progress. I see that we could make progress. The first week we did long prompts, got smooth jazz. Shorter prompts, got some that sounds like R&B, some that sound like hip hop could be, but we'd have to like spice it up. So next week I'm gonna see like maybe there's something else I need to do to adjust these prompts, and maybe I'll get exactly what I want without all having to do all the work and everything else. We'll see. All right. Is that anybody have any questions? Okay, no questions. We out there. I will see y'all either on Wednesday when I do my hot takes or next Friday. Both times, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you guys for coming. Love y'all. Have a great weekend. Be safe.